Hello, everyone. If anyone is here for the concert, I'm about to bring programs to the back. So if you'd like to follow along and see the titles of the pieces and all of that, they're all in the program itself. So I'm bringing these to the back of the church now. If I pass you and you'd like one, just wave your hand at me and I'll give it to you. Thanks.
Tonight we have our first organ concert that we will have for the next 3 Wednesdays after this, different people. And of course, what is the importance of the organ? Well, apart from the fact that it's a very important instrument for liturgical music, this organ happens to be a very beautiful organ, and we're very fortunate to have a very talented organist, the director of music here, Alex Pattavina, and the other 3 organists are also very well-known young organists. One of the great things about this music is it is beauty. It's one of the transcendentals, one of the things that passes over everything. And I think sometimes beauty brings people closer to God. And that's partly why we're here. Maybe we're here to listen to music, but the music sometimes has to do with God. Maybe not always, but it has a great deal to wake us up to something deeper in the world than just our own selves, our own life, our own things. So tonight we'll hear this lovely organ music in this concert, and I hope it does wake us up to something beyond. And frankly, as a priest, pastor here, Saint Agnes, Michael Barrett, I think bringing beauty into the church is what will bring people back to their faith. More than anything else is beauty. So, thank you for coming. We're very happy you could join us. And right now I will pass this over to Alex Pattavina.
Thank you very much, Father Michael. My name is Alex Pattavina. As he mentioned, I'm the director of music and organist here at Saint Agnes, and I can't tell you how thrilled we are all to have you here tonight. Whether you're here in person with us or watching online live or an hour later or 6 years later, whatever it is, thanks for watching, thanks for being here. I'm very excited to share this program with you. I believe it's a sort of survey of all the different organ composers, but also the different colors of the organ that it shows. We're going to hear the organ at its most aggressive, good luck. We're going to hear the organ at its most peaceful and serene, and quite a few things in between. If you were able to pick up a program on the way in, wonderful. It has the names of the pieces, the titles, composers, and all that. If not, they're on a table at the back, or on a little table thing at the back of the church. If they're out, you can scan the QR code on the pews in front of you to access a digital version of the program. Additionally, at some point tonight, whether on your way out or now, there are also these little cards at the back of the church for the music list sign up. Now, if you've signed up for our music list before, our email list, wonderful, we appreciate that very much. But if you'd like to stay informed about future events, not just the following 3 concerts after this, but stay in touch with Saint Agnes and hear all about our music program long term, feel free to sign up and drop it in that box or bring it back to Saint Agnes at another time. So we'll begin this program tonight with a work by Maurice Duruflé, a French composer of the 20th century. This piece is a fugue, and its theme is that of a carillon. That's the type of church bells you'd find in a tower, not ones that necessarily automatically ring on the hour, but ones that you actually play. And so this particular church in France had its own sort of signature theme that you always heard around this church. So, and that would be the cathedral in Soissons, as this title tells you. So those bells' melody that you'd hear over there are the basis for this fugue, this piece that Maurice Duruflé wrote. So I'll walk up there in just a sec, climb up the stairs, and start with the wonderful fugue by Maurice Duruflé. This title means Fugue on the Theme of the Hourly Carillon of the Cathedral of Soissons. Thanks again for being here. Very glad you are, and hope you enjoy tonight's program. Thank you. I'd like to follow that piece with one that contrasts it quite a lot. This next piece is an air, or aria, a very lyrical, melodic piece, written by Jerry Hancock, who is an American organist and composer. In fact, in 1998, Jerry Hancock was one of two performers on the concert that dedicated this organ when it was first built. So the name Jerry Hancock rings with our history. I hope you enjoy this lovely, again, lyrical, beautiful work, one that explores the different colors of this organ through a nice melody. This work was written for his wife, Judy, and so you can think of this piece as a love song. Please enjoy Air by Jerry Hancock. This next work is a chorale prelude by Johann Sebastian Bach. It's a work that is an ornamented chorale, which is to say a piece where the melody of the hymn or the chorale is ornamented. It's quite more elaborate than the very simple melody that we might sing normally. The hymn it's based on is one we use once in a while at communion here at Saint Agnes, as well as many churches around. The English title of that is Deck Thyself, Thy Soul with Gladness. It's a wonderful Eucharistic hymn. And if we had hymn books down there at the moment, I'd tell you which number to turn to and look at. But you'll just have to take my word for what a wonderful text and melodic combination it is. So here is Johann Sebastian Bach's chorale prelude on Schmücke dich, o liebe Seele. Thank you. we are going to flip the switch once again and hear a more aggressive side of the organ. Now, this piece really effectively illustrates a certain kind of prayer. The name of the piece is Litanies, and if you recall, often at Mass, or occasionally at Mass, I should say, or at other sorts of prayer times, we'll pray the Litany of the Saints, where we call on all sorts of saints' names over and over and over again, asking for them to pray for us. Now, this sort of style of prayer, a litany, is when we pray something over and over and over again, asking. And you can tell in this piece that the sort of, if you want to think of it as a main character, if you will, is in distress in some way. And so he turns to prayer, naturally. He prays the same thing over and over and over again. And the first thing you'll hear in this piece is the clear-cut version of that prayer. And you hear it repeated over and over again. What if I pray for it from this angle? What if I pray using these words instead? It's a very effective illustration of prayer. And at a certain point in the piece, he has a realization that he's asking too much and not quite listening enough. So he submits to God's will and starts listening. From there, from that climactic point, you can hear a sort of transformation in the character of the piece as the person praying stops asking and begins to listen and allow God to do his will. And through the end, we start to see that prayer answered little by little, but not quite how we may have expected or wanted it to have been answered. So I ask you to keep all these things in mind as you listen to this wonderfully effective piece called Litanies by Jean Alain. Thanks. back to something sweet. The next piece is another air or aria, this one written by Belgian composer Firmin Svinnen. Now, this organist, Svinnen, was someone who moved to the United States in the 20th century and became the organist for the DuPont estate at Longwood Gardens. Now, the DuPont family purchased an organ in their private garden, one that must have been 10 times the size of the one they have, 10 times the size of the organ we have right here at Saint Agnes. It was an enormous organ, and Swinnen was asked to play recitals all the time for the family privately and for public visitors to the gardens. And he wrote all sorts of pieces for this very peculiar instrument, one that was built literally with all sorts of bells and whistles. And among the pieces he wrote for this organ, which had an abundance of string sounds, some that really well imitated the sound of the orchestral strings, this is one of them, this piece, Aria. So I hope you enjoy this colorful, charming, not too serious piece by Firmin Swinnen. Having just had some dessert, we're going to finish the program with some meat and potatoes. But before I play this wonderful Bach fugue, I'd like to thank you for being here. Again, those of you online and those of you here in person. I'd encourage you to consider on your way out either giving something in the donation bin. It all goes straight to the music program to allow us to put forward events just like this. Now, this concert series of 4 performances were all underwritten by a very generous anonymous donor, and so we are extremely grateful for that. And if that sort of thing interests you to offer in the future, next time we have a performance, or if you'd like to propose maybe a memorial concert for a loved one, please feel free to be in touch about just that. But anyway, again, I encourage you to leave what you're able on your way out, or if you'd prefer to do that online through Eventbrite, there's a code in the program or that you can scan to donate, or you can go through the confirmation email if you signed up to be here. Anyway, on to Bach. Some more Bach to conclude the program. This fugue that you're about to hear is actually extracted from a larger work called Passacaglia. Now that's a work which is monumental and terrifically exciting. And this is the concluding movement of that piece. Prior to what you're about to hear, you would have heard this Passacaglia, a theme repeating over and over and over again, not terribly different from the idea of that litany we just heard. But this theme, this same theme that the Passacaglia is based on, carries this piece, and it's quite exciting and dramatic and epic and colorful all at the same time. It's one of Bach's finest works for the organ, and it certainly shows off our instrument very well. Hope you enjoy. Well, I'd love to invite you back next week, same day, same time. What is that, the 28th? Wednesday the 28th. A good friend of mine, Jeremiah Mead, will be performing another organ recital. Again, Wednesday the 28th at 6 p.m. Another Juilliard organist, Jeremiah Mead. He just graduated and soon will be off to Indiana University to study for the master's program. Following that, another friend of mine, Eddie Zhang, will be performing on August 4th. I hope I'm getting these dates right. Again, a Wednesday at 6, and then following that, August 11th, Cecily DeMarco performing August 11th at 6. So again, following 3 Wednesdays after this, I'd absolutely love to see you all back for that. Thanks very much, and have a good night.